The timeline is very important because, again, one of the most important things that you can do on the sell side is control process. So as a sell side advisor, you are establishing the timeline. When do non-disclosure agreements go out to buyers? So every buyer will sign a non-disclosure agreement. And if your advisor is doing his job, the non-disclosure agreement will have certain non-solicitation terms in there so that buyers can't get your materials, figure out who your employees are, and say, oh, man, this guy looks great. Let's go out and see if we can hire him. No, you want non-solicitation of employees and customers built right into that non-disclosure agreement. But the non-disclosure agreement will go out first. Then the sell-side materials, the SIM, the acquirers will have an opportunity to review that, submit some questions, and then the process carries on from there. And what we've done is, again, using these key ingredients and dynamics from negotiation, we've begun to build leverage, right? We brought in optionality from the get-go. We're maintaining our credibility because it's a formal sell-side process, and all the buyers know that a variety of different acquirers will be looking at this. We are controlling this process because we're setting the timeline. And what will typically happen in a controlled process like this is the materials go out the door. The acquirers might have 2 weeks, they might have a month, it depends. And this varies, and it varies, quite frankly, based on seasonality, right? Like, so sometimes if you were to go to market in late fall, well, you know Thanksgiving's coming up, you know Christmas is coming up. You can't really push acquirers to move quickly because people take a lot of vacations. Same thing in summer. Like July is a horrible time to put acquirers under, a 2-week deadline. So you have to be cognizant of seasonality, but it could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a month. And at that point in time, what we tend to ask for is we'll send out a process letter along with the SIM that'll say, on Wednesday the 15th at 5 p.m., your proposal for the acquisition of XYZ company is due. This proposal should include, and we want to see a variety of different things. We want to see price, and we'd like to see it in an absolute term as opposed to a range. I'd rather see I'd rather see it say, we're willing to pay $35 million versus we're willing to pay 30 to 35. I want to know what the structure of the deal is. Is there seller notes? Are there any sort of holdbacks? Are there any earnouts or contingencies? What does that look like? A statement of intent. What do you intend to do with the owner? What do you intend to do with the employees? Financing. Like, do you actually have the money to do this deal, or do you have to borrow it? So there's a handful of components that we request to be put into the proposal, but that initial proposal is typically referred to as an indication of interest. It's oftentimes a document that's 1 to 3 pages. It's non-binding. It's a friendly letter that says, hey, we loved the opportunity of reviewing the materials on your client. We're super excited about the space. We think it's a great business. We'd be willing to pay X for it. Here's how we'd structure it. We have cash on hand. You can just write a check, get the deal done. Here's what we're going to do with the team, so on and so forth. Would love the opportunity to meet with management. Now, those proposals are all due on the same day. And there's a reason for that. It is very, very difficult to review proposals serially. You always want to look at them in parallel. It's the ability to compare and contrast offers, which allows clients and their advisors to determine which proposals are better. And this process, by doing it this way, keeps the seller away from the age-old problem of revealing information. And so I want to talk about this. So we're using this deadline, this time here, to build leverage. But this deadline also allows us to conceal things.